Whether you say tomato or tomato, you probably think you know a thing or two about this remarkable fruit. Or is it a vegetable? A staple in kitchens and cuisine worldwide, the tomato has been a subject of many controversy and fascination. From its wild origins in the Americas to its adoption in Europe and around the world, the tomato has had an interesting journey filled with fear, misconceptions, and ultimately widespread popularity. Today, tomatoes are used in a variety of dishes from salads and sandwiches to sauces and soups, with consumption steadily increasing over the years. And the tomato has even been an unlikely source of inspiration in popular culture. So let's take a deeper look at its fantastic voyage from humble and primitive beginnings to a beloved ingredient at your dinner table. Welcome to Salt Pepper Wisdom, where we explore quirky and compelling facts about seemingly mundane things to sprinkle knowledge and season up conversations for all ages. Today, we bite into the tomato, a true global traveler with a rich and fascinating history that spans continents and cultures. But it all started in the Americas, where the wild tomato was first discovered and domesticated by the Aztecs and other indigenous peoples of Mexico and South America thousands of years ago. However, the tomato of the past was different from the tomato we know today. The original wild tomato was smaller in size and more acidic in taste compared to the sweeter and larger varieties we have now. Despite its sharper flavor, the Aztecs used it in much of their food. They also believed in its medicinal properties and regarded the tomato as a symbol of passion and love, associating it with fertility rituals due to its bright red color symbolizing blood and life. The tomato was even believed to have aphrodisiac properties, a love apple, as it would be called by some Europeans later. As the Aztec Empire expanded, the tomato spread throughout South and Central America and was adopted widely as people developed their own unique uses for it. Over time, the tomato became an integral part of the local cuisine and was eventually spread to other parts of the world by explorers, traders, and settlers. Who wouldn't want a love apple? But when the tomato was first introduced to Europe in the 16th century by Spanish conquistadors, it was not immediately embraced with open arms. At first, the tomato was grown primarily for ornamental purposes and was not widely consumed. In fact, the tomato was considered a suspect and even poisonous fruit by many Europeans. Fear of the tomato persisted for over 200 years, with people believing that it could make them sick. According to historians, this fear was fueled by the use of pewter and lead tableware, usually in the homes of wealthy aristocrats, which would react with acidic tomato juice and make the food taste metallic and potentially toxic. Compounding this belief was the tomato's reputation as a member of the nightshade family, which includes plants like belladonna, known to be toxic to humans. Thanks to a popular publication loaded with inaccuracies, it became referred to as the poison apple and was associated with witchcraft and the devil. Perhaps it was actually a tomato that sent Snow White into dreamland in the famous tale. Despite these concerns, the tomato slowly began to gain popularity in Europe, especially in Spain and Italy, where the climate was perfect for its cultivation. Things really took off around 1880 when Queen Margherita visited Naples. She requested something less boring to eat. She got pizza and she loved it. The tomato went on to thrive as a staple ingredient in Mediterranean cuisine and was widely adopted in various pasta dishes, its reputation as the love apple going strong. In England, the tomato took longer to gain acceptance, but eventually became a popular ingredient in ketchup and Bloody Marys. The rest of Europe soon followed suit, incorporating the tomato into their traditional dishes and culinary practices. Meanwhile, the tomato was making its way across Africa and Asia. With Chinese culture, it followed a similar trajectory, initially being met with a reaction that was equal parts confused and curious. But it eventually evolved into common usage. The tomato made its way back to the Western Hemisphere with European settlers and explorers, who brought it with them to the Americas. Despite its widespread use in Europe, the carryover of the poison fear was still present in the Americas, with many people still regarding the tomato with suspicion. Tomato-loving worms, several inches in length, freaked people out until they were proved harmless. Still, ew! However, the tomato was gradually embraced by settlers. As the popularity of the tomato grew, so did its reputation, and by the 19th century, the tomato was widely recognized as a nutritious and delicious ingredient. It was touted for its medicinal properties and was believed to have a variety of health benefits, including the ability to boost the immune system and prevent disease. This is proven today. Raw tomatoes are a healthy source of fiber, vitamins C and K, potassium and manganese, and they are linked to a lower risk of cancer and heart disease. The spread of the tomato in the Western Hemisphere was aided by advances in transportation and communication, which allowed it to be transported and traded more easily. This eventually led to a Supreme Court case. The classification of the tomato as a fruit or a vegetable became a topic of debate in the late 19th century, with the US Supreme Court ultimately ruling that the tomato is a vegetable for purposes of certain tariffs and duties. This ruling determined how the tomato would be taxed and regulated, with vegetables being subject to higher tariffs than fruits. It also had an impact on the culinary world, solidifying the tomato's status as a vegetable in cooking contexts. Except the Supreme Court did admit that it was still technically a fruit, so that settled things once and for all, right? Fruit or vegetable, the tomato has been used in some surprising ways. For example, it's been used as a way to express displeasure at bad performances, particularly in 19th century theatre. Audience members would throw tomatoes at performers on stage if they weren't up to expectations. This practice became so prevalent that theatre owners would place baskets of free tomatoes near the stage to encourage audience members to throw them instead of overripe or rotting fruit they may have brought with them. It became a cultural phenomenon. Thankfully, the practice has declined over time and is now considered a historical oddity and fodder for cartoons. More recently, the tomato has made its way into pop culture. Its sordid past as an object to hurl at the stage inspired the popular film and TV review website Rotten Tomatoes. Funny enough, the tomato is actually featured in movies like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and Fried Green Tomatoes, the latter getting much better reviews. In TV shows, a tomato hybrid was featured in an episode of The Simpsons. Remember Tomako? In music, the controversy in pronunciation was the subject of the Tomato Tomato song, aka Let's Call the Whole Thing Off, written by George and Ira Gershwin. A kitchen timer shaped like a tomato inspired the popular Pomodoro technique to enhance productivity. It's inspired art, used in countless still lifes, and Andy Warhol's timeless Campbell's tomato soup can paintings. One sold for almost $12 million. The world's largest food fight, La Tomatina in Bunol, Spain, is dedicated to it. Tens of thousands of people throw literal tons of tomatoes at each other, leaving the town looking like it's been doused in tomato soup. What a mess! The ubiquitous tomato has a number of unconventional but practical uses. One such use is in the beauty industry. Tomatoes are rich in antioxidants, vitamins and minerals, making them a popular ingredient in a range of beauty products, from facial masks and serums to shampoos and conditioners. Tomatoes are also used in a variety of industrial applications, including the production of biodegradable plastics, as well as the manufacture of paint, ink and other products. Chew on that. Actually, don't. Back to culinary uses. The tomato is a popular choice for home gardeners who enjoy growing their own fresh produce and experimenting with different varieties of it. Some even push it to extremes, with the world's heaviest tomato tipping the scales at 11.65 pounds. That's like the size of a hefty newborn baby. According to data from the National Gardening Association, the tomato is one of the most commonly grown fruits, vegetables, in home gardens in the United States, with millions planting tomatoes each year. This is driven by its ease of growth, versatility, and, of course, its delicious flavor. Gardeners have a vast selection of over 7,500 tomato varieties to choose from, each specifically bred to cater to various needs. These varieties range from small cherry tomatoes to large beefsteak varieties. Heirloom tomatoes come in a spectrum of colors, including purple, pink, yellow, orange, and even black. All differing in size, flavor, and texture, these options provide home gardeners with the opportunity to experiment to find their favorite. Over time, the tomato has been selectively bred and hybridized to produce new varieties that are more flavorful, disease-resistant, and adaptable to different growing conditions. With advances in agriculture, such as the use of greenhouses and hydroponic cultivation, the tomato has become a year-round crop that can be grown in a variety of climates and environments. It'll grow like crazy until it's killed by frost. For now, just try and stop it. It's now one of the most widely cultivated and consumed fruits or vegetables in the world, according to data from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. The tomato's global production was estimated at over 160 million metric tons in 2020. The top tomato-producing countries include China, India, the United States, and Turkey, among others. Per capita consumption is estimated at approximately 15 kilograms per year in many countries. Americans alone consume an average of 30 pounds of tomatoes annually, mostly in the form of canned or sourced varieties, especially in pizza toppings. Now that could cover a lot of pizza. Looking to the future, it's likely that the tomato will continue to evolve, driven by advances in agriculture and changing consumer preferences. As the demand for healthy, sustainable, and locally grown foods continues to grow, the tomato is likely to play an important role in meeting these demands, with new varieties and growing methods being developed to meet the needs of farmers and consumers alike. Fruit or vegetable, the popularity of the tomato shows no signs of slowing down, with demand continuing to grow in both developed and developing countries, appealing to all ages and cultures. Tomatoes are even spreading beyond our own planet. NASA and its partners have started growing them in space on the International Space Station. Maybe someday they'll grow on Mars. I guess you could say that tomatoes are out of this world. Maybe we should just call them love apples. Yum! Thanks for exploring this episode with us, and we hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked what you saw and want to see more videos like it, we'd be honored if you subscribed to our channel. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us to continue creating quality content for you. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join our community today. Thank you for your support, and we hope you'll stay tuned for our next adventure.